Welcome back, Truth Seeker. So we have a guy in the comments, Jackson, and he's not aware that I cover more than football and basketball. Jackson, we've been covering all the sports, helping a lot of people win a lot of money at all the rig sports: football, basketball, baseball, hockey, tennis, golf. You know, all of these sports are rigged the same way. And the fact that so many of you still think that like hockey's not rigged, I mean, how obvious is it? Tom Brady goes to Tampa, and then Tampa wins the Stanley Cup, goes to the World Series, and wins the Super Bowl. And then the hockey team wins the Stanley Cup again the next year. And the thing is, both years, we had the date dead on that the Lightning would win the Stanley Cup. On August 15th, lightning burned up Tom Brady's hometown in the Bay Area, a lightning storm. And we said, look at that. Lightning equals 44 in gematria. 44 days from the lightning storm is the perfect day for the Lightning to win the Stanley Cup. And that's exactly what they did. They won it 44 days later. And keep in mind, the day of the lightning storm was August 15th, the day in history that the Jesuit order was created. And remember, weather warfare was first admitted to in 1952, and the military activity that was admitted to took place on August 15th, the exact same day in history. It was the Royal Air Force in the UK, though, not the United States, the United Kingdom, but they're both controlled by the Jesuits. And last year in 2020, in the spring, I put out all the dates to expect hurricanes to make landfall. We looked at all the dates with 52 numerology. And we said, circle these dates. These will be the dates hurricanes make landfall. And every single one of those dates we put down, except for one, a hurricane made landfall. And on the one day it didn't, a hurricane formed that day. And we've been doing this for years, teaching about hurricanes, weather warfare, and 52. And this year when the Lightning won the Stanley Cup, it was the same day the hurricane passed through Tampa, and Tampa won the Stanley Cup. And with the shortened season, they also won their 52nd game in the season. And for a guy like Jackson, who doesn't know about all this, Jackson, search this. Type in Zachary K. Hubbard, that's me, Vice News. The article will pop up. You can read the article from 2017, Vice News making fun of my research on weather warfare, hurricanes, and 52, and how I use that information to call the World Series of why the Astros would play the Dodgers. We called this in August, but why the Astros would play the Dodgers, and why the Astros would defeat the Dodgers, and why it would be all about 52. And remember, that was after Hurricane Harvey decimating Houston. And then Matt Harvey became the first pitcher to pitch in Houston after Harvey. And that day that they had that game, it was exactly 52 days before the start of the World Series. And again, hurricane equals 52, flood equals 52, earth equals 52. The name Enlil equals 52. That's the Babylonian god of storms. And that's where this knowledge of letters and numbers goes back to. Babylon. This stuff that they're doing is old. So, I respond to Jackson, and Jackson writes, so a natural disaster is tied into the outcome of a hockey game? No, it's not a natural disaster. This is the military. You live in a giant corporation, a military corporation. Think about how intertwined the military is with sports and advertising and flyovers at football games. Think about how often there's been, weather-related tragedies and then great sports stories that come out of them. Think of New Orleans and then winning Super Bowl 44 after Katrina. By the way, Katrina equals 52 like hurricane. Anyway, for people who are totally asleep and people who are ignorant and don't have knowledge and don't know what's going on in the world, and that pretty much describes anyone that thinks pro sports are real. You have to be really ignorant and blind and can't see the obvious to not see just what a joke sports are. But people like you, Jackson, are really annoying because you write things that are totally false. Like your statement here. If all the sports are rigged, I wonder why guy only talks about football and basketball, but never hockey. And again, it's just a totally false statement. There's a gentleman in New Jersey who would laugh in your face. Like he would just laugh hysterically. Like he'd laugh so hard, you'd be covered in slobber. And you know why that is? Because he's won hundreds of thousands of dollars from rigged hockey from my picks. You know, and how do I know that? Because he's told me and because he's given me a lot of money in tips for all that he's won. So, Jackson, the only reason you don't know that is because you are ignorant. And it's your ignorance that's the problem. Okay? And we did call the exact dates for the Tampa Bay Lightning to win their Stanley Cups because we understand how sports and weather are synced together and who's pulling the strings on all this. The Jesuits are a military order. Again, it's not an accident that Jesuit puppet Tom Brady has his town burn up from lightning 44 days before the Lightning win the Stanley Cup, when in Gematria, lightning equals 44, just like military. So do some reading. Look into things like HAARP, HAARP, the military technology that can influence storms. Stuff they've even shown you on the History Channel. And then start to think about what's really going on. Again, for football fans, there's only ever been one halftime performance where it rained at halftime. And that happened to be Prince performing Purple Rain. Just think about that. Just think about that. That Super Bowl was on February 4th. 4/2, the word rain equals 42. The only time it ever rained at halftime in Super Bowl history, the Purple Rain performance. And don't forget, we called Prince's death before it happened. Vanity died before the 58th Grammys. Purple Rain equals 58. And Prince did the song I Would Die For You. He spelled it with the number 4, the letter U. Used the 21st letter. He died 4/21. I Would Die For You. 4/21, the date of his death. Anyway. Until next time.